Hi again then guys, and after much speculation over previous days and weeks and even the majority of the month, we finally have the new silhouettes for the next update in Gran Turismo Sport. Now this update is dropping on March the 5th according to Kaz's Twitter, and it's only 5 cars this time, which makes it one of the smallest packs we've had, but I would say that they more than make up for the lack in numbers with quality. 2 of the cars in this pack in particular I'm very excited for. I definitely have a favourite, and it's the first one that we're going to get to, a car which I've even predicted I thought was going to come back to the game, and it is here. Now we don't know of course what the new track or tracks are going to be, so we'll have to wait and see as far as that. We also don't know what kind of other features we'll be getting, but that's for another video at another time. We'll do a full breakdown when the trailer drops, all that kind of good stuff. So as we usually do, we'll work from top to bottom, left to right, and give you my 5 predictions. And as I said, the first one definitely excites me the most because it's pretty obviously an SLR, a Mercedes SLR McLaren. Probably my personal favourite Mercedes, especially the Roadster version, which of course this one isn't. We did have a premium version in the previous game with some pretty crazy visual modifications. Of course the visual mods won't be carried over, but the car itself will, and that's more than good enough for me, because this is going to be a great Route X car, I have no doubt about that, and I just love the SLR in general. It's one of those cars which I never used to race all that much, but I used to love just driving it, because I love the way it looks, the way it sounds, the way it performs. To me it has aged very well for an early 2000s supercar. So yeah, I'm hugely stoked for that one. The next one is a car which a lot of people were wondering, would we get it at all? Personally, I thought we probably would because of a number of factors. Because this is very clearly the production spec A90 Supra, the new shape Toyota Supra. Because the reason why I'm saying that I thought it was going to come is we had the GR racing version before, and even in Gran Turismo 6 there was a very strong focus on the FT1. We had the FT1 concept, then the kind of pointless graphite version added later on. Even now we have the 2 different FT1 racing versions, the Vision GT and the Group 3. So Gran Turismo has always had a vested interest in the Supra. It's always been a great car, kind of second only to the Skyline in terms of being the hero of the franchise. So yeah, of course the new Supra was going to come. It is finally arriving, and it's going to be an interesting car in around the N400, N500 kind of category. So we'll have to see what it's like to drive. Doubtless pretty fun, probably kind of TVR Griffith style, the new one, in terms of how it performs. The next car is doubtless the slowest of the pack, but that's not saying much considering that it's still a little sports car. It's an MX-5. An original Mazda MX-5. It could be the 1989, it could be a slightly newer one, but again, the MX-5 is a car that we've had so many variations of, and to go from so many to so few is kind of ironic, because in Gran Turismo 6 especially, there were way too many MX-5s, whereas now we just have the new one, and now we've gone from the very latest one to the original, which is pretty cool. Now, the next one is an interesting car because you can certainly see very easily what it is, but not necessarily in the details. Now, I know a lot of people like to enhance these images, which makes the guessing that little bit easier. Personally, I never do that. I just run as Kaz drops them. It's clearly a McLaren F1. That's without a doubt. The question is, which one is it? Now, personally, my initial thought was, is that the long tail? The road version, the F1 GT, but I don't think it is. We've never had that before. We did have, of course, the finer liveried long tail, but I don't think it's that either. I think this one is the Ueno Clinic GTR, the 1995 Le Mans winning McLaren. Again, it was already a premium. We had the base model as well, so that's definitely my prediction for this one, and that's going to be an interesting car. I suspect it will be in Group 3, which will be kind of ironic for a GT1 car, but at the same time it kind of makes sense going up against stuff like the Ford GT LM and various others too. And finally, you cannot mistake that nose cone, you cannot mistake that big wide grin, and you cannot mistake those carbon fibre beautiful teardrop wing mirrors. It's a HUAYRA. And that is significant, because anyone who played Gran Turismo 6 will remember just how overwhelmingly fast the HUAYRA was. Now, personally, I don't necessarily think the HUAYRA will still be as overwhelmingly dominant in terms of just how fast it can go, but I do think it will still be up there with stuff like the Veyron and the GTR Nismo, and now the Enzo, which has really come into its own in GT Sport in terms of top speed. Regardless of how quick it is though, it's another Pagani, and that is a hugely important thing to Pagani fans such as myself. It's very cool to see in a relatively short span of months the Zonda R added and then the HUAYRA. They're bolstering up the Pagani dealerships and also the smaller dealerships in general, like Pagani, like Maserati and others too. So that's very cool. So there's only 5 cars, but I think there's some pretty cool ones. 3 of them in particular. I'm curious about the McLaren, and I'm certainly looking forward to using the Pagani as a weapon, but the SLR for me is easily the standout of the pack. I'm really looking forward to that one, especially in the even higher quality graphics. It's going to be a good one, I think. So that's it for my 5 predictions. Pretty easy shapes to look at this week. They're not overly complex, but of course stick around on the channel. I will be breaking down all of these cars when the pack is released, along with whatever tracks and features we get. I'll be tuning all of them, reviewing all of them, and of course I'll be breaking down the trailer when it drops closer to the 5th of March to see if those 5 predictions are indeed correct. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.